at Sudeley Castle in the heart of Gloucestershire. This is a place that's full of history and it's played host to so many famous figures over the years. We started digging here in 2019 and we've returned this year to investigate what we thought was a Tudor banqueting house. But as we come back, we've found something even more exciting and we can't wait to show you. Let's head over and have a look. So welcome to Trench 8. The keen eyes who are watching will be able to see that behind me we have this beautiful dry stone standing wall. So we're going to head over to David, who's been excavating it, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on here. So follow me, watch your step, it is quite muddy out here today. Hello David.
Hello.
Can you tell me what we've got going on here then?
So we have got a wall and we're thinking that wall is Tudor.
Tudor?
Yeah.
So would this be around the time of King Henry VIII maybe?
Yeah,
when
possibly,
he came to
maybe a little bit later with Elizabeth I as well.
Yeah.
We're thinking it's Tudor because some of the pottery that we're getting, but it's like we're sort of getting the lower coursing at the moment, so we've got 3 to 4 of it, and we're wondering if it might be like 2 meters high. It's certainly a substantial wall.
So what was it for?
We're thinking possibly a garden wall, just like the sort of the extent of where the Tudor garden may have been.
So how far along would it run then if it's this
We're
garden
thinking
wall?
sort of running beyond the tree and sort of potentially further.
Yeah, and that's great actually, because speaking of this tree, if you follow me, we've got quite the collection of stonework happening under here. So if we step through, behind me is some amazing examples of fine worked stone. Some is very decorative as well. We have columns and we have Tudor roses, and we think that all of this has been lifted from Winchcombe Abbey that was destroyed in the dissolution of the monastery. So this rubble here would have been built up to create a mound to cover over this wall that we're excavating now when the gardens were refurbished. We know that there are 2 points in time after the dissolution when these stones would have been taken that the garden has been done up. First of all, we know that Thomas Seymour refurbished the gardens for his new wife, Katherine Parr, who was the widow of Henry VIII. And second up, we know that Elizabeth I came to visit for her grand 3-day party, and the third Lord Chandos completely redid the gardens for her as well. So all we know so far, we can't tell which is which, but we know that these are gardens that are fit for a queen. Before we go, I have one more thing to show you that's very exciting, but we're going to jump forward a few centuries. As we head there, I'll walk through the trench and we'll get a closer look at this wall system and see some of the fantastic archaeology that we've been uncovering. So follow me, do watch your step on the rubble. So here, as we walk through the heart of the trench, you can see this facing stone on this wall nice and clearly. It's been cleaned up very nicely by our venturers and you can really see how substantial it is. And if we cross over here, you'll be able to see this deep pit that we've excavated, this section. And you can see how many courses we have and that foundation layer right at the bottom that shows us just how substantial this wall was and how tall it was. And just behind that, we have just the person I was looking for. So I'm going to step up here and say hello to Indy, who's in our Victorian section of the trench. Hello, Indy.
Hello.
So am I right in believing that we aren't the first archaeologists that have dug here?
No, we don't think so. So we know that Emma Dent, who lived in Sudeley Castle in the Victorian period, also fancied herself a bit of an archaeologist and had a go at digging within the castle grounds. So we think that we may have come across one of her trenches.
So it was right here where we're standing that she
we
did her
think so.
excavations.
So
how can we tell?
Because we have all this soil that we're stood on here is much darker, it's loamier, it feels more like topsoil or much more modern backfill than the deposits we've been removing elsewhere in the trench. The finds from it have also been more modern, and we also have the wall that's coming through the trench that seems to quite abruptly and in kind of an unfinished edge ends here, even though our augering says that it should carry on a little bit further before it starts to return down. So our assumption is that that bit of the wall has been removed in the Victorian period by Emma Dent. And unfortunately, in the time between here and now, we've lost those records, so we don't know exactly where she was until we came and dug some trenches.
Ah, so she's pinched our wall.
I think she may have done, yeah.
So what did she think that she had here? Did she think this was a garden feature, or?
Yeah, I think she was generally a very curious lady and did want to just know what was happening on her land. What we think she thought she had was a Saxon manor. So even though we've lost her records, we do start to see that during the time she's living at Sudeley, the OS maps of the castle start showing the mound that we're stood on as being called a Saxon manor. So our assumption is that she probably came across this wall and slightly misinterpreted it as a Saxon manor. However, we haven't found anything within our trench that suggests anything as early as the Saxons. So our assumption is she has potentially misinterpreted this Tudor garden wall as being that Saxon manor house.
Oh, right. Well, that's really interesting. It's great to see someone else has been here investigating.
Yes. Well, there's been a lot to remove. It's quite deep archaeology, and we do now only have 2 days left. So you have to wish us luck.
All right, I get the hint. Good luck, indeed. Thank you for all of that. So that's a wrap on our tour of our Sudeley trenches this year. Thank you so much for coming. Before we go, I just want to say a massive thank you to all our supporters. So that's our crowdfunders online and our venturers who joined us in person. And of course to Sudeley Castle for their continuous support. Watch this space and see what happens next on our Sudeley adventure. But for now, I'll say goodbye. See you next time.